Watch out for the hole. What hole? Watch out for the portable hole. Rock out to the portable hole. Watch out for the portable hole. Rock out to the portable hole.
Welcome to the Portable Hole Podcast. I'm Ryan George, and I'm here with Cinik. It's just the two of us today. Cinik, how you doing?
I'm great, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no, it's great. I'm glad we could get this in. I know you're going to be traveling coming up, and you'll be away and be a busy couple of weeks. I'm glad we were able to kind of fit this in before your travels.
Yeah, I'm excited about the trip. Marking a few more baseball stadiums off the old list. A couple good games. Looks like it's going to be great weather out there, and do some touristy stuff, taking the nightlife.
What stadiums are you knocking off the list?
Dodger Stadium and Angel Stadium.
Got it. So how many will you have left when you're done?
I'm down to personally 7.
Okay.
But as a couple, I think we're still at 14 left.
Oh wow. Okay. Now, do you have like a goal date when you will finish all your stadiums?
I mean, there's a random couple stragglers, but I believe that we'll be done probably the next 3 years.
Really?
It's probably just about the time that Oakland opens up in Las Vegas, and we'll have to go out there as well.
Okay. Now, will you wait for Hillary to catch up to you before getting to your last stadium, or do you care if you finish first?
Really, it only counts when we both finish, so It doesn't really matter in which order that we do that. If my journey ends before the both of ours, we'll still finish either way, because it's kind of a thing that we decided to do together. So
no, it's fun.
We're excited about it.
Yeah, we kind of had the same thing. We did it with the 50 states. It's like we kind of started together. I think we're at this point we're caught up. We're even, or I'm ahead one. But yeah, same kind of thing. It's a fun thing to do together. We kind of stalled out, I think, at 43 recently, but I definitely would like to get back to trying to knock the rest of the states out.
This finishes us off for the West Coast. It's all Midwest after this, and then a couple random stragglers like Toronto. So I got to get my I've got to get my passport in order to get over there.
Yeah. Do you need a passport to go to Canada?
Yeah, absolutely do.
All right. Yeah. I forget how that. Let me know how that stuff works. I should know, but yeah, no, easy enough. But yeah, that will be some motivation for you to get your passport, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So so today I got a few things to talk about. It's a little bit of news. So a lot of kind of weird and crazy stuff come out the last few days, week. We'll do some Emmy talk, the winners and who we thought should have won, and then we'll go into what we've been watching. For me, it's been basically one thing. Like I had intended, it was crazy this weekend. Our intent was we were going to try to see 3 movies. So the plan was on Saturday we were going to try to see Beetlejuice and the new James McAvoy movie, because I forget the name of it. It's been ahead of every movie we've seen. Like we've seen the trailer a million times, but like he's good. It was A24. And then we were going to go see the 4:30 movie. And then I was sick early in the week, and Anna got sick on the weekend, and we did nothing. So we were supposed to see those 3, but did nothing. And now, we're going to try to at least see Beetlejuice. Have you been to the theaters all recently?
I really haven't. And there's been stuff that's been coming out that I want to see it. The name of the movie is Speak No Evil.
Yes.
And based off the trailers, I absolutely want to see it too.
Yeah. Yeah. So we were like, the plan was we'd even gotten the tickets. We were going to go, 4:00 to see Beetlejuice, go get lunch or go get dinner afterwards, and then go back to see Speak No Evil, but that never happened. So we're gonna try to knock something out this weekend, because then we have Joker in a couple weeks. So, which
I don't know if you guys do this, but when I'm on memorable vacations, I always actually try to see a movie while I'm doing it, so that movie's always associated with that vacation.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good idea. Like we've done it a couple times. I think we saw. Although they've never been good. Like we saw Pet Sematary at some point on a vacation, and I forget what else. There's something else, but yeah, we've never done anything particularly good. But no, that might not be a bad idea. But yeah, I've seen some mixed reviews for Joker, but I'm just gonna hold out hope that it's good, and the reviews are crap.
Well, really, it's only been IGN that I saw, and they got blasted for it.
Okay.
Kind of calling out a bias.
Interesting.
It looks like Rotten Tomatoes, the score as well, and
Yeah.
it's pretty mixed, but more on the higher side every place else.
Yeah.
So I mean, I thought it was completely unnecessary, but I'm excited to see what they do with it.
Yeah, but look, the first one was unnecessary, but it worked. It did a good job with it. And so this one is same thing. It's kind of like the first movie, singular movie, really well done. Didn't really need a sequel, but maybe they're able to kind of make this one work as well. So we'll see. Definitely give it a shot. Unlike The Crow, which I was reading somewhere. Apparently the not to bash on it more, but the writer had nothing to do with it. Apparently read the script, was like, yeah, this is terrible, and like the original writer of The Crow was not brought on as a consultant or did not agree to be a consultant because that script was the worst thing ever. And from what we've read and what we saw in the funny pitch meeting, it seems pretty terrible.
Yeah, that and the person that I work with that always has the worst takes on everything was kind of watching it on a pirate stream today, and he's like, "Yeah, this is pretty good. I think I'm gonna finish." And if he recommends anything, it's a total fail.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's get to some interesting news. So I guess the big news story that came out today is Sean Diddy Combs was finally arrested and indicted on federal charges of sex trafficking and racketeering in New York. And apparently he tried to get bail, and that he was denied bail, so he's stuck in federal prison. And it's pretty crazy charges. Apparently, abuse of women, orchestrating sex performances, using drugs to keep the victims compliant. Apparently, some of these things are recorded. So I mean, it seems pretty bad, and I wonder, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens with him moving forward. It's like is he the next the next guy to go down?
I never watched anything like Making the Band or whatever reality show that he had back in the day.
Yeah.
So was always under the assumption that he was a pretty nice guy. And then, I saw his character and Get Him to the Greek, and I'm like, well, that's pretty wild.
Yeah.
And we very well might have been seeing the real show and Combs in that movie.
Yeah.
It's sort of like when Kevin Spacey did Horrible Bosses.
Yeah.
And he was just this terrible person. It's like, I don't think he was acting.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's kind of where we're at, but based off those charges today, I think they may put him under the prison when this is all said and done. He was supposed to be arrested today, and he was arrested yesterday.
Yeah.
Like they came up and got him. So something must have came out that they moved early on him, and then they denied him bail to boot.
Yeah.
So there might have been maybe some flight plans or something they got wind of that they didn't like.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, yeah, exactly, like flight risk, and somebody who's got it obviously has a ton of money. But also, there was like, I didn't watch Making the Band, but I always remember the Chappelle's show. I mean, this is right. This is like 20 years ago, making fun of it, and clearly he had some weird, if it was weird enough to be parodied hilariously on Chappelle's show, it seems like there was a lot of smoke or a lot of fire where there was that smoke. But yeah, it's pretty bad. And there's another guy like. It's crazy that I mean, I guess a lot of this, you wonder how much of this is like recent and not, but it was him with the video, right? That came out of him beating a woman in the hallway.
Yeah, like a hallway of a hotel.
Yeah.
And I know it's not a fair parallel to draw, but Hannibal Buress's little outburst at the end of one of his comedy shows brought down Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
And then Eminem references, did he possibly getting Pac killed? And next thing you know, he's getting arrested as well. But I think it's more along the lines that I think several civil trials have been brought against him, and I think that's really what brought light what he might have been up to.
Yeah. And then, so nothing, actually, this is a story that I didn't, even have it as a list, but just popped up. Are you following the Shannon Sharpe thing that happened over the weekend or last week?
I saw a little about it, but I wasn't sure if the response that he gave out was real, or somebody was playing on Twitter.
That is a big story, but like Shannon Sharpe, his own podcasts, have done really well. He's had some really big interviews. And I guess like there was an Instagram live that went on of him having sex with a woman. And initially he said he was hacked, but then came out and said, I guess, I don't know, he was playing with his phone and it just kind of went out. But, it just leaves you to wonder, like when anything like that happens, like, was that intentional or did he, was that really an accident? Like he's an older guy, but like not that old that you can't control a phone.
Yeah, but
Instagram.
I just recently saw him pitching boner pills. So I wonder if that was just showing off the product.
That would be hilarious. Yeah.
You know, like a little viral marketing, so to speak.
It's interesting because I feel like it's somebody who's like he's been at the top of his game recently. I feel like that's a move you make like 4 or 5 years from now when like other guys have taken over. But he's been, he's getting good ratings. He's doing well. It seems a little desperate. So I hope it's not intentional. But it was kind of a news story nonetheless. There's my crazy dog. So anyway, so tell me about I know you're a Linkin Park fan.
Yes.
So maybe you can tell me about what's going on in this whole controversy.
Well,
with
I
Linkin
loved
Park.
the response I got in the group chat. First off, when I'm like, Linkin Park is back.
Yeah.
I've waited forever, and you guys are like, ugh.
Yeah, Justin and I are kind of like, we're both kind of music snobs. Wrong, we shouldn't be, right? But that's how we act about stuff. And I think Linkin Park for us hit at like the wrong age. So where we were like just super cynical about any new music. And so and Linkin Park just happened to be the big new band. And we were at that point, we were kind of snobs and cynical. And so they always were not a band we like, even though as, later on, it's like, no, they're a perfectly good band and the music is good and there's nothing wrong with them. But they just represented something bad, awful for us after we were getting out of our we love Tool and Pantera and all these, bands that we were just that's the antithesis of the stuff that we were listening to. But the group text was pretty hilarious. We ganged up on you.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about that. You like Tool, but Linkin Park is too angsty for you. I mean, listen, I'm a kid of alternative music. I went from The Cure to Nine Inch Nails to Linkin Park. Yeah. So I'm not cynic by accident. Yeah. All right. So Linkin Park appeared out of nowhere, basically, after I think it's been 6 or 7 years since the death of their lead singer, Chester Bennington. He tragically took his life. And that was unfortunate. And I actually, for the first, I'd say year to 3 years, I couldn't listen to their music because I empathize with anyone that struggles with mental health issues, because I've had some of the same problems growing up. So I when somebody loses that fight, it just cuts me to the bone. I still can't watch a Robin Williams movie. It just, I know that there was more to what he was going through than just depression, but it bothers me when that happens. It really does. Even when I hear about it with everyday normal people. But I was kind of attached to their music for a long time, and I've proudly seen them, I'd say, a good 7 or 8 times during their run as a band. So they decided to reboot and bring in a new singer. They went with a female, which that would limit the comparisons to Chester, but you still have people that are 100% unhappy with that decision. One of them being his son. I believe his son's name is Jamie, who decided that he was going to make it about him. And originally he came out and said, "You're basically erasing my father's legacy in real time." First off, the only person that did anything to affect his father's legacy was his father. He made a choice. He decided not to be in the band anymore. It's not like they threw him out. The band was formed before he was under another name, but it was the close to the lineup that they started going with. And who is anyone to say that they aren't allowed to make money because somebody decided to essentially quit the band? Chester wasn't the only lead singer. He, he wrote some of the music, but not all of it. It's almost like saying, "Oh, well, my boss killed himself, so you guys can't go to work anymore."
Yeah.
I don't, Mike went out on his own not too long after Chester killed himself, and he looked so sad and so lost out there touring, and I felt so bad for him. And he played some of his own stuff, he played some of the Linkin Park stuff, but you could tell this was a dude in mourning. He misses his bandmate, he missed his friend, and it hurt to see. And seeing him play, they did a secret show, and seeing him up there with the band again, at least some of the band, some of them chose not to come back for personal reasons, more along the lines of age and life has moved on and such. And seeing him up there again just made me feel good because he was having so much fun. I mean, let them go out and let them make money. One of the big things that bothered me, not only about Chester's death, was the fact that they were a band that was on top for a long time. They were kind of on their way down. Some of the fans had been upset about the course that the band was taking. And Chester himself said, "If you don't like the band, then go ahead and move on. Like, you'll always have the old music, but go ahead and move on. Like, that, we're fine with that, and we understand it. People change, but we're going to do what we're going to do. And I feel the same way about this. First off, his legacy will never be affected. That music's never going away. It's not like Linkin Park is like Sharon Osbourne and they're going to re-record everything and pull all the old stuff down. Chester's family will continue to get money from some of the live shows and the back catalog, which is a win for everybody involved. And I think it's a positive thing. I think it's a healing thing.
Yeah.
And will the band ever be the same now? Was it probably better with Chester? Maybe, but this lady is a unique talent. She's a good singer, and it was great to see her do some of the new stuff and a lot of the old. And to anybody that's like, oh, well, she was a Scientologist or she did this or that, I don't care about actors or singers or famous people's politics. I don't care about their religions. Just don't diddle kids and you're fine with me. Don't abuse pets, don't diddle kids, don't beat on women, and you're fine with me. At the end of the day, I really think it's a step in the positive direction. Now, his son makes a statement, goes on Instagram Live, runs down Mike. Oh, Uncle Mike, you're ruining everything. Uncle Mike, you're erasing my father's legacy. So in the comeback tour, the first show was in Los Angeles. What does Jamie do? Beg Linkin Park for tickets. After you shit all over the fact that they're coming back, they're ruining everything. He should have been consulted, by the way, which I don't know where he thinks that he has any say in his band. Like, it's not a business that your father passed to you.
Yeah.
It was something your brother was a part of and no longer is. So he goes there, he makes a point of posting that he's there and saying, well, I hope none of the Linkin Park fans are aggressive towards me, because he did get a fair amount of hate.
Yeah.
And so, Mike brings up over the course of the concert some of the things that have been said. Now, this kid didn't have any original thoughts. He might have been the most noteworthy person to express them, but he didn't have any original thoughts about not erasing the past, and this is a celebration. And he hit on a lot of the points that he's like, oh, he used my words against me. Dude, really?
Yeah.
He's like, he knew I was in the audience. Yeah, because he gave you tickets.
Yeah.
And they used my words against me. I'm like, if this isn't classic cunty just attention-seeking behavior, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
It's super entitled, it's super attention-seeking, and it's not about you. And to the people that are bothered by this, it's not about you either. It's their choice as a band and as a business to move forward, and we should respect that. And if you don't want to take part of it, the best part about it is you don't have to.
So now, are they still touring? Like, is everything still moving forward, or are there any questions?
They're doing like a very brief world tour where they're hitting, I believe it was 5 or 6 cities. Brooklyn was absolute the other night, but it was just wrong timing for me.
Yeah.
But they plan on doing a full scale tour in 25, including festivals and stuff. It is about money. At the end of the day, I'm sure they're doing it for the love of music, but why does anybody do anything when it pertains to their job?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you love fitness, but you're an instructor because it pays.
Yeah. So now the question, and again, I don't follow it that much, but I know that some of the question was more about the lead singer and her views on like mental health and that being an issue.
Well, yeah, I think she's either current or former Scientologist. I didn't care enough to look into it because I don't think that should really affect how I feel about the band. I'm if Dave Matthews really hates puppies or not, like you said in that Adam Sandler movie, it still doesn't affect the fact that I like Crash Into Me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't. I'm not hung up in it. It's the same as if the whole thing with Taylor Swift and Trump. Like, if you're a fan or you're not a fan or you don't believe in her political belief, what do you care?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everybody has the right to express their opinion, except when people don't agree with it, and then suddenly it's a problem.
Yeah, although I guess it is tough for some people to separate the art from the artist. And that's just that's always been a thing, right? Like, I think you're able to compartmentalize probably better than even I could, right? Like, if there's somebody who, whose music, and I guess it's tricky. Like, for some, but I guess there's some situation where if somebody had certain views, but I loved their work, it might make it a little bit difficult for me to follow their work. Not that I'm comparing this situation, but I think but you're right. Like at the end of the day, it's like you're there for the music. You're not there for their political views. If you were there for the political views, that's a whole different story. So I think there should be a world where we are able to kind of compartmentalize a bit more and just enjoy art for what it is and not worry about all the things on the side because I'm listening to music because it's good music and that shouldn't change because somebody has some strange views.
Well, you remember there was a time that before Michael Jackson died, that when all this stuff came out, nobody would touch his music.
Yeah.
Nobody would listen to it. Nobody would go near it. And then when he passed away, he became Michael Jackson again.
Yeah.
Overnight, basically.
Yeah.
Radio stations started playing his music again, and everybody forgot the evils that he'd done to children in the past.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because whenever you hear his stuff, there definitely is it's like, it's a little weird, but But it's also he's one of the greatest artists in the history of like mankind. So like
it doesn't take away the talent,
right?
That's
like how
for
do
sure.
it is a hard it's a hard it's a hard square to circle or whatever that. Now my brain's not working that much today, but it's tricky to figure that one out, right? Like how do you where do you draw that line? And I feel like with Michael Jackson, I think now that he's dead, people are just like, whatever. We'll ignore the pretty rough stuff that he probably did.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get to the next story. So tell me, there is I'm still on my iPhone 13, but apparently Apple announced a new iPhone. So should I get it?
If you're on the 13, all the smart money says yes.
Really?
Because I'm on the 13 as well. It has everything to do with enhanced battery life, faster processor, and the camera is the camera from the 13 went from a 12 megapixel to a 48.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that's pretty significant.
Yeah.
On top of the fact that it now has the ability to charge from 0 to 50% in about 30 minutes.
Oh, okay.
If you have the right charger.
Yeah.
So that also helps. And they've also added some pretty nifty camera features as far as a button on the side of the camma where you can actually, on the side of the phone where you can actually control it.
Okay.
So, and take pictures from that rather than touch the screen.
Yeah.
So that's a neat feature as well. And the fact that they're going to start, one of the things that drew me into is that they're going to start heavily adding AI to the phone.
Yeah.
But it's their own, so they'll be able to control the flow of information in and out.
Yeah. Yeah. So because I'm thinking about it. So I mean, it's funny, like because I'm on my iPhone 13, it still works, but like the battery is terrible.
Yes.
For me, I think, my wife will probably be the first one to get a new one because like for the camera is important for me, but like I have a good SLR, so like when we travel, I usually will use that for photos. But she takes thousands and thousands of photos when we travel and uses her iPhone. So I think she really needs like the improved the camera because the camera's fine. But the upgrade, it seems like the 16 is pretty good. The AI features sound like they might be good, but also like it's the Apple's AI, so who knows how good or useful it's going to be. But everybody's diving down the AI, or jumping on the AI train. But yeah, I'm thinking about it. Although I just got a new MacBook, so I might hold off on any big expenses, for a little bit. Yeah.
Well, the nice part about the phone is they break it up and throw it on your bill.
Exactly.
So it's not like you're shelling out anywhere from $9 to $1,100.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, that's fair. Because it's like, and it's funny. It's funny because of course I get an email from AT&T. Congratulations, you finished your payments on your old phone right in time for me to go buy get the next one. So yeah, there might be a point where I'm really tempted to go pick it up.
I have gotten better though, because I used to try to upgrade every year.
Yeah,
I remember
those days.
It's just not enough. They don't do enough between each model to justify that anymore. Well, but from the 13 to the 16 are are we at the 16? Yeah, the 13 to the 16. According to the marks on Twitter, they've improved enough where an upgrade is justified. Yeah,
there was those beautiful days early on when like you could sell, your previous generation on eBay because when they were very restricted, where it was only on like two different, like it was like AT&T and Verizon had it, and so you could sell the old one on eBay for someone to unlock it, for more money than you could buy the new one. That was like there's a few generations where I would just upgrade every year because of that. And now, but now it's not so much, and especially with like the throwing it on your phone bill, it's like 26 payments or something. So you gotta go with a couple years anyway. All right, so the last news story that I've got is this it's the Dave Grohl situation, which is just crazy. So I'm kind of following it, but maybe you have a better grasp on it. So what's going on with this?
Well, he recently announced that he fathered a child outside of his marriage,
Yeah.
which sucks because they did a documentary, I'd say probably like 5 or 8 years ago now, where they recorded a album at his house and the whole family was there and his kids were younger and the wife was, kind of cooking people stuff on the barbecue, and they seemed like such a happy family. However, he made a mistake. And of course, the internet, because they love to roast everybody over everything that they do, suddenly there's a large wave of Dave Grohl hate. And one of the funniest takes I saw was, I was really into the adultery, but then I heard his music and I completely changed my mind on him. He made a mistake. And for people to go, I'm so disappointed in Dave Grohl, or I'm no longer a fan. It's not about you.
Yeah.
Dave Grohl owes one person an apology.
Yeah.
His wife. And that's it. And it looks like they may be headed towards divorce. I hope not, but it looks like but I want people, the 4 people or 100 people or how many people listen to this to sit back and think about the level of temptation that someone like Dave Grohl deals with on a daily basis.
Yeah.
You literally have anything and everything that you could ever want at your fingertips every time you leave the house. And yeah, people are going to stumble. Half the time, the husband or wife can't say no to the 6 that is sitting next to him or her in the cubicle across the way. But meanwhile, you have models constantly throwing themselves at you. I can't imagine. I can't imagine how any of them stay faithful.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine as a spouse that you would expect them to. Maybe they had an understanding, and she just didn't know that he would be careless with the whole fertility thing, but I'm not quite sure. But I don't think you should. Once again, I don't think it's like, oh, I can never listen to the Foo Fighters again. Did Dave Grohl cheat on you, or did he cheat on his wife? People get way too involved and idolize these famous people who are as fallible as we are.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. Is like most people we know, like I trust people as friends, and I trust people to, generally have my best interest. Like the very few people that are in my kind of close circle. But I I've learned that
I'll be there someday.
It's very hard to trust people, and how they act in situations like that. And that would be no different for celebrities. I know people who've been married for a very long time, who seem in a perfect relationship, who cheat or would cheat if the opportunity arises. You see it just so much that it's just kind of hard to believe that a celebrity who probably has women throwing themselves at him daily, it's like I'm not gonna tie that to my liking their music or not. I'm not, like, I don't, it's like, yeah, I don't really care. I mean, not that I don't care, but I'm not following them. It's like that's a choice he made. You're right. Like the one person who he has to apologize to is his wife, and it's just it is what it is. It's like I wasn't a big Foo Fighters fan anyway, so it doesn't matter all that much, right? I'm not going to be like I'm never listening to them again. But like if I did, it's like whatever. Like that's life. People do it, and it's not it's not a surprise. And I don't know if maybe it's a little different if it's like someone who's very hypocritical, like someone who like maybe if they're out there screaming from the rooftops how great of a husband they are and yell and kind of chastising people for doing that, and then they come out as being a hypocrite. I think maybe I'd be a little bit more. I'd have a little more to say on that, but I don't know that that's him. As far as I know, he's not running around, yelling at people for cheating. So I don't know. Like, is what it is. It's kind of a weird situation. Sucks for his wife.
Well, yeah. I think he's victim that he has a good personality and he's kind of the nice guy of rock and roll.
Yeah.
So if it was Ozzy Osbourne, people wouldn't blink an eye.
Yeah.
But since it's Dave Grohl, then suddenly it becomes a big deal.
That does kind of hurt him, right? Because it's like, he does have like, he is somebody who does generally seem to be, accepted as like a good person, and people like him generally. Like you rarely hear any bad press about him, and he seems very affable. It seems like a nice person. So yeah, it's like one of those things where, yeah, it's a little, I don't want to say surprising, but it sucks because he is somebody whose image is pretty positive and wholesome. And so for that to come out, it's like, oh, okay. Like that, it's like, sucks for him because he's going to, that's going to hang, stick with him for a while, but I don't know, is what it is. All right, so let's get to, we're going to talk about the Emmys. So what I was thinking we'd do today is, we'll go through the major categories, major acting and show categories. I'm not going to get into writing and all that stuff, but what I'll do is we're going to go through who won, and then we'll just talk about if that was the right decision or if you feel like somebody else, should have won. So I don't know particular order, so I'm just going to take in the order that I kind of wrote these things down, but we'll start with, so the Emmy for the best comedy series. So the winner was Hacks. Now I like Hacks. I think it's a really well done show. I feel like Reservation Dogs should have been the winner. I think that was the best comedy series of the year, and I think also it deserved more. It's great that it got a lot of nominations this time around. I think it's deserved more recognition since it's been around, but that would have been my pick for best comedy series. How about you?
It's definitely on my list, but I'm more interested to find out how we consider The Bear a comedy.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing, right? Well, here's a question for you. How is The Bear comedy, but Mr. and Mrs. Smith was a drama? Right? Because I feel like if you're going to, Mr. and Mrs. Smith was a drama, but it had more comedic elements to me than The Bear. So yeah, I don't know how, I feel like sometimes it's like kind of gaming the system a little bit too.
Well, I think it was a drama because they were killing people and there was gunplay.
I guess so, yeah. To that extent, right? But yeah, it didn't feel like that much of a drama. But was there anything you felt should have won? You feel like The Bear should have won since it was in the comedy?
I'm deep in the Bear camp.
Yeah.
I think out of that list, I haven't seen them all. Like, I've definitely got to check out Hacks, so I can't say that it shouldn't have won. But
even season 3, which is a little bit of a step down from the first two.
Yeah, but I still think it's kind of above everything else that's out there.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Fair. And can't hard to argue with it. But yeah, I think Hacks is a solid show. Definitely worth watching. 30-minute episodes, entertaining, very funny, very well done. All right, so best drama was Shogun. And honestly, like I feel like it, not that it was a great year of drama shows. In fact, like I saw that Idris Elba show Hijack, which I thought was perfectly a fun show, was not worthy of any awards. Was nominated, but I do think they got it right. Like Shogun should have been the winner. What are you?
Yeah, I mean, from what I saw of it, I didn't get all the way through it.
Okay, yeah,
I definitely have to give it a fair shake.
Yeah.
But out of what this list and what I did see, yeah, I wasn't a huge Three Body Problem fan. I liked Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but I kind of hope that they go in a different direction if they do a sec. I did like Fallout quite a bit, but definitely not the best drama series for sure.
Yeah, I feel like Fallout probably would have been next to my list, and not because I loved it. I thought it was really really well done. Not that it was that great, but I think it was just kind of maybe weaker on the drama side. Like Mr. and Mrs. Smith was perfectly fine. It was we reviewed it. It was entertaining, but yeah, it seemed like a weaker field. But Shogun was great. I think it was epic.
Yeah,
it had great performances, really good story, and so I think it does deserve it. But it was also a little bit of a weaker field. It felt like this season. Okay, so now back to Shogun. Which we're gonna get to, which will be the next couple. So best actor in a drama was Hiroki Sanada, who was the lead in Shogun. He won, and he was great in it. Again, the list was not not amazing performances. You had Donald Glover, who was perfectly, was great in Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but I don't know that it was like best. I think he would deserve more for his roles in Atlanta than for this. And I would have maybe gone with Walton Goggins. Even though I don't know that I would consider that a best like lead actor, because I don't think he was the lead, but
I agree. I was kind of thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Dominic West fan. I didn't see much of The Crown, but what I did see, I did like. I think it's fair. He probably deserved it.
Yeah. So I mean, you definitely couldn't go wrong with that. And then Best Actress was Anna Sawai, I think that's how you pronounce her name, also from Shogun. I do think she deserved it. I thought she was awesome in it. Now I didn't see all of the shows that were listed, all the performances, but she was really, really good. Like one of the standout performances to me, above everybody, in Shogun. So I thought she, definitely deserved it, for that. What are you?
Yeah, I agree with that. And anybody but Maya Erskine from Mr. and Mrs. Smith,
Yeah.
because I despise that person to their core.
She is good. I liked her. I don't know about Best Actress worthy, but I thought she was good. But yeah, definitely a point of a disagreement for us. So Best Supporting Actress. So this was Liza Colon-Zayas, I think is how you pronounce her name, from The Bear. And I was surprised she was nominated, but when I thought, I was like, no, she was great, and they gave her a lot to work with this season. And I was a little down on the season as a whole. I felt like you got a little self-indulgent, but I did like the episode that focused on her, and I like that she's really. Oh, there's my dog again. I like
The dog
that
does not agree.
Yeah, I really like her kind of progression as a character early on. That's the type of character who could always just be like a tertiary character who gets a couple lines here and there. But they really went a long way to really create a three-dimensional character. And I really loved her performances this season. So when I thought, it was like, oh, I was a little surprised she was nominated, but no, she was great. And honestly, like, I think she deserved it. I didn't see any, there were any better performances to me this year.
Well, just looking at an ensemble cast like The Office, you really don't get very good writing for the people in the background.
Yeah.
The Bear, everybody has a solid storyline and a good origin, and just carries themselves well on screen. Like, I've enjoyed her character since the first season, and I want to continue to see that where it goes for her.
Yeah. No, it's great. So I think that was well deserved. All right, so now Best Actor in an Anthology. So that was Richard Gadd for Baby Reindeer. That one, I think they got it right. I do feel like, obviously, like in Baby Reindeer, it's such a crazy story, and he seems like it is the perfect performance for him, because he's generally playing a version of himself, it would appear, especially since this is, largely based on true events. So, you give it that, but still, it's a phenomenal performance. So I think they were spot on with that. What about you?
I mean, I loved Baby Reindeer, but I also really loved John Hamm and Fargo.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
So that one's a tough one for me, because how do you give somebody a Best Acting award for playing themselves?
Yeah,
that's the only, and I just don't think Gadd has enough range to do anything else. Now, maybe he'll prove me wrong and he'll knock something else out of the park now that he has a little bit of notoriety, but he did play himself.
Yeah.
So that's a stretch to give someone an award for it. If that's the case, then I should get one every day. I do have a Dundee back there.
I would say I get what you're saying, but I mean, how many times has somebody put in an amazing performance and either they can never repeat it, or every other character they play is a version of that? So yeah, like I get it that it's not the best range, right? It's not like he's playing it, we're not judging him by the range, but that he was able to emote and make us feel for him. And yes, he is benefited by the fact that he's playing a version of himself. But if you ask me to play myself in a biopic, I'd probably be pretty bad, because I'm not a good actor. So I think the fact that he's able to present that on screen, I think I wouldn't ding him necessarily for that, but I do think John Hamm was pretty great. So
Ryan, you're playing yourself right now. You play yourself every single day.
But if you have I was gonna say, if you have a camera on me, but I do have a camera on me. But you know what I mean. If there's a director
now. The writing awards, I absolutely agree with.
Yeah,
I thought that was a phenomenal story. I thought it was it was very, very just gripping every second that they were on screen. So I am glad that they got recognized for creating it's kind of a masterpiece in a way.
No, absolutely. No, totally agree. All right, so now we have the Best Actress in an Anthology, and that went to Jodie Foster in True Detective. Solid choice. I am a little partial to, and maybe it's just because I really like the story and I like the book, but I was a little partial to Brie Larson, your favorite actress, in Lessons in
Yes.
Chemistry. I doubt that you saw that. It is really good if you haven't. I actually highly recommend it. But I really like that series, and I liked her in that. So I was a little partial, but again, can't go wrong with Jodie Foster. I think she was awesome in True Detective, and just generally True Detective was really good.
Yeah, that season of True Detective brought that show back to
Yeah,
prominence. It was like such a wild story
yeah,
and acted so well, and you just had no idea what was going to
yeah.
happen. She absolutely deserved that. I would agree with you there.
Yeah. No, but honestly, I was looking at the best supporting actor in a drama. I don't think I've seen any of it, except for like three actors from Shogun. So fine, just give it to someone from Shogun. But Billy Crudup won for the morning show. Did you see anything besides Shogun, for the best supporting actors? And do you
Oh,
have a choice?
I'm trying to find the category now. What were the other?
Oh, where is it? Okay, it was like three people from the morning show and like three people from let's see.
Yeah, we should probably lined up our lists.
Yeah, so supporting actors, you have Billy Crudup in the morning show, um, Mark Duplass in the morning show, Jack Lowden in Slow Horses, Jonathan Pryce in The Crown. I'm just gonna assume it's Jonathan Pryce.
Oh,
John
I
Hamm
found it.
in the morning
Yeah,
show. Yeah,
yeah, I haven't seen any of that.
yeah. And I mean, again, it's three actors from Shogun, so and again, Shogun is or no, two actors from Shogun. It's so well acted, so I could give either of them, but then I would say, Uh, I'm just gonna assume it's Jonathan Pryce, but again, can't go wrong with Billy Crudup. He's great as well. Um, all right, so let's see. Next up, we've got best actor in a comedy. So we got Jeremy Allen White. He won for The Bear. Um, I will say my choice only because he deserves every award is Matt Berry, but it's not based on anything logical. I just think he deserves to win an Emmy at some point because he's been amazing for however many seasons we've gotten with what we do in the shadows, and is kind of one of those people who I'll just watch do anything. But what do you think? You think they made the right choice with Jeremy Allen
Uh,
White? Right?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah,
I've been a fan of Jeremy Allen White since the beginning of Shameless.
yeah,
So, yeah, I'll be supportive of anything he does. I mean,
yeah,
he's carrying even though there's a lot of talented actors around him, he's definitely the lead in that show. He's carrying things, and he's done a great transition from this role to, starting off as Lip over in Shameless.
yeah. No, that's fair. Okay, now best actress in a comedy. So you haven't seen Hacks. Jean Smart won. She, again, can't go wrong. Again, I would have liked to have seen Iowa Debris. I may be butchering her name. Win for The Bear. She's so good. And I don't know if she's won in the past, but she's like the glue that holds that show together, and every bit goes toe to toe with Jeremy Allen White. So I feel like I would have gone with her, but Hacks is a great show. Gene Smart's great in it, so can't go wrong with that. But that would have been my choice.
Yeah, I could agree with you there. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, then best supporting actress in a drama. Again, all the choices for this I really didn't see, but Elizabeth Debicki won for The Crown. Do you have any opinions on that?
Not really, because
Yeah,
it's that same lineup that was almost supporting male.
yeah,
It's I haven't seen any of them.
yeah,
I probably won't see any of them.
yeah.
You know,
So,
Mm.
yeah, no, I get it. Well, I'm in the same boat. So then we have Best Supporting Actress in Limited Series. So that was Jessica Gunning again in Baby Reindeer. In that case, I feel like they nailed that, right? Like she was not playing herself and was so good that
yeah,
you really thought, and then when we got to see the real person, it was like, oh wow, she really did a good job with that. So yeah, definitely, I would say she nailed that. So we
yeah,
got that right.
absolutely. And who knows if we'll ever see her again? So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely give her an Emmy, because that might have been a limited run as far as her career.
Yeah. I guess we'll see if she's got what kind of range she has. All right, you got two more. So the best supporting actor in a comedy, Ibn Mas Bakrak. He's great. I'm good with that. I of the other supporting actor in a comedy choices, I didn't really see any that to me were as good, and so I think a well deserved win for him. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. He's great.
And then finally, so this was honestly So this one, the best limited anthology category. So Baby Reindeer won, and we both said it's a phenomenal show, very well written. But honestly, this was the most stacked category. Any of these shows to me could have won, and I would have been perfectly fine with it. So you had Fargo, which was an awesome season of Fargo.
It was.
True Detective, again, awesome season of True Detective. Like they both came back so strong because they're both shows that are really good. Started first seasons were great. They've always been high quality, but not quite reaching the levels of the first season. And then each show this season just knocked it out the park. Again, you haven't seen Lessons in Chemistry, but a great show, a little different in tone from everything else on this, but really well done. If that one, I would have been fine with it. And then Ripley, which I really enjoyed, but I think I more enjoyed it just because it looked so good. I think there were some issues with it that maybe bring it down a notch, but I thought Ripley was great too. And if any of these shows would have won, I'd be perfectly okay. And I feel like that was by far the most stacked like category of the entire like Emmy show.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm just happy that I've seen 3 out of the 5 things nominated. So
Yeah.
that makes me kind of happy. And then the other 2 are they're on the list to watch.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like Lessons in Chemistry would be a fun show to watch with Hillary. Like I think that's just a really good, interesting show, really cool twists and interesting characters. And you didn't see Ripley, right?
I did not.
Yeah, Ripley's really good.
I know you recommend it.
Yeah, Ripley's good. I'd be interested to know what you think because I think I personally, it's like it looks amazing, and I've said it a million times. Like it's one of those like every scene, it's framed perfectly. So it's one of those shows you could just sit and look at and just marvel at, like, wow, what's he going to come up with for the next scene? Everything just looks composed beautifully. But I also think it's just a really interesting take on that story. But yeah, no, great stat category. All right, so let's get to just get to what we've been watching. So I'll go first because I've only been watching one thing for the last week, and that's been Resident Alien. Have you seen that at all?
I have not.
Okay. So Resident Alien, it's been on my radar for a few years now. Like I feel like it's been on my radar for a while, but it stars Alan Tudyk, who's kind of been in everything. And it's based on a graphic novel, and he basically plays an alien who's crash landed on Earth, and they're able to kind of change their molecular structure to appear human to other people, and he's got to find
how many seasons has there been?
I think 3 seasons.
I think I saw the first episode or 2 of that.
Cool.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Really well done. So, and it's really funny because it's kind of like a fish out of water, kind of stranger in a strange world type of tale. He's trying to figure out how to be human. And it's the cast is really great. It's every character, kind of like, I liken it to, did you watch Schitt's Creek?
Some of it.
Okay, so it's kind of like, it's one of those shows. It's not like the tone of the show is not quite the same as Schitt's Creek, but what it is kind of like, it's like the stranger in a strange land type of show that finds his way into this small community. And as the show goes on, it shifts a little bit away from like the primary character, which is his character, and you really learn more about this community and how this community kind of bands together, and he becomes part of that community. So for me, it's very similar to Schitt's Creek in that vibe, but it's really funny, really well done, great. Great characters, great performances. It's kind of a show that's very easy to watch. It doesn't get overly dramatic, but it has its dramatic moments. It's just a really easy show to watch because it doesn't require too much. It's not, not heavy, not super tense, at all times. Most of the times, like they get, when they are in situations, they get out of it pretty easily. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I think we just been watching that like for the last week and a half. So I think we've gotten up to season 3, and I think there is going to be a season 4, which is good. But even like Linda Hamilton has a pretty significant role at points in it, so that's kind of cool to see her nice. In it. But yeah, no, it's got a really, really, again, great cast, and definitely worth the watch. How about you? What have you been watching?
Season 2 of The Tulsa King came out.
Okay, yeah.
I've been checking that out episode by episode, and that's been, I believe, as good as the first season, which was a huge surprise to me.
Okay.
Because I think it's some of the best acting Stallone has done since Copland.
Yeah.
And Copland was such a great movie, but you never really get to see him do anything kind of out of that Rocky type action hero type mold.
Yeah.
So to see him go to, gangster from what we're normally seeing him as, like the action hero, shoot the gun guy, is an interesting. He's showing some range that I didn't expect from him.
Yeah.
So that's the first season was fantastic. Along the lines of the Mayor of Kingstown, kind of like as a surprise of the show being this good in quality on the Paramount Network. So the second season of that, so far from what I've seen of it, is holding up.
Yeah, oh, that's great. It's good. Yeah, it's definitely on my list of shows to watch. So it's like every time I see the ad for it, I'm like, oh, Cinik keeps saying I gotta watch it. So like, definitely gonna get to that.
Speaking of shows, Ryan, that were beautifully shot, we're going back through Game of Thrones again because of our D&D campaign, because we've set it in Westeros, and rewatching some of it. I think we're up to season 2 or 3. That show was so beautifully shot in certain places.
Oh yeah,
like it doesn't nearly get the credit it deserves for that. Like the cinematography was amazing.
Yeah, no, it was great. It really was. Some otherworldly in some spots. It's crazy. Just a shame how like those last few seasons ruined what was such a great show.
Well, let's look at it like we're looking at Dave Grohl. We're looking at it like Emily Armstrong from Linkin Park. Let's look at it like that doesn't take away from the whole the whole series as a whole. Like
it's hard
the
with
acting.
I guess it's hard with like a narrative, right? Because like if it's a band, they could have 7 albums and the first 3 are amazing and the last 4 suck. But we can always just say, the first 3 are amazing. I just won't listen to the last 4. But like with but Game of Thrones is kind of hard because it's like you need that whole thing. But you can also say like, look, seasons 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, even 6 are great, and I can just watch those and. Last couple seasons,
there's parts of the last season that are redeeming as well.
Absolutely, yeah. No, absolutely. And that's the thing is like, I think we've talked about it ad nauseum at this point. Like we covered that show so much. None of us hated it. It was such a shift from the first 6 seasons that was the big thing. It's like a completely different show, and it was clear that they'd phoned it in. So it was like all of a sudden where we got a lot of kind of rich storytelling. It was like, we just got to get it went from like. We're going to tell you the story the way it needs to be told to like, we're going to get from point A to point B as quickly as possible, to get over
Well,
this.
they had to hurry up and get to 3 Body Problem, 6 years later.
They had to hurry up and get to Confederate.
Oh, yeah.
They had to get to Confederate, which people are like, what the hell? You're going to write an alternate history about the Civil War? Yeah, that sounds great. And then they got to 3 Body Problem. So, but hey, 3 Body Problem is fine. Again, I don't know. This should have been Emmy level, but hey, it was a perfectly fine show.
Well, they got to nominate something. They've got to fill out these categories
exactly.
at the end of the day.
Yeah.
They can't just be 2 or 3 things. They've got to spread the love a little bit.
No, that's so true.
Overall, it's a popularity contest, and it doesn't represent who you feel was the best. We're all it's all subjective, really.
Exactly. We'll always remember like The Dark Knight was not nominated for an Oscar, which is still like to this day one of the great travesties in modern film.
Absolutely crazy.
Yeah. Or to be you know what, like, to be honest, the best actor this year did not get nominated, and that would be Anthony Starr. Right?
Yeah, I was disappointed that he didn't even get nominated.
Yeah.
Like, all right, you're not going to win. Shogun was like kind of an epic.
Yeah.
We're going to get one more season of The Boys, so maybe he'll get another shot at it.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure what much more the guy
what can he do? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, so that's the thing is like, he was so good that like if he was on that list, I would have been like, I would have given it to him because he's so good in that role. And I guess part of it's that The Boys is this kind of crazy, dumb kind of superhero show, but like whatever you think of The Boys, like Anthony Starr is incredible in it, so he probably should have deserved something. But
I love that video that I sent you guys of Anthony Starr basically being Homelander in real life. Like he just has a bit of a hair trigger and gets annoyed real easy. It's fantastic.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's funny. When we go to like Comic Cons, I'm not. We don't do a lot of we'll pay for like an autograph or photo op. But he was the one of the few that when I saw that he was in a photo op a couple years ago, I was like, I gotta get a shot with Anthony Starr. He was super nice. Like for the 10 seconds we got to get a picture with him. But yeah, that video is great. All right. I guess that's it. So so I guess you'll be back in a couple weeks. Hopefully we will both have seen maybe Beetlejuice and or the James McAvoy movies, whatever it's called. I'm forgetting now. But we could do a proper review of those at some point. But that is it. All of our stuff is at portablehole.com. And Cinik, until next time.
Watch out for Justin's hole.
Nice. Perfect. It came in under an hour. Great.